Thank you all so much for joining Real Estate Sales Bootcamp today. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jonathan Sweat. Corey is here as well too, along with Ellison Stewart. And I think we'll have our other couple of teammates. They had appointments this morning, but they'll probably be on here shortly. But I'm fired up today about this topic because it's actually one of my favorite topics that I think we've covered, and it's something that I really, really wish that someone would have taken the time early in my career to teach me what we're going to be going over. It's something that I think if you understand how you can set up the conversation with a client in the very beginning, it will eliminate a lot of chaos. It's going to help eliminate a lot of anxiety on their part, but especially your part as well too. So I want to start with a question that I want to sit with you for a second. And no one needs to raise their hand to this or answer audibly. It's just something for you to think on. So I'm not picking on anyone, but I want you to sit on this question. Who is actually leading your client relationships right now? You or your clients? Who would you say is leading it? And if you're honest with yourself, for many realtors, the answer is going to be your clients. They're the ones that typically lead most of the relationships. This is not a character flaw, number one. So this is not an attack on anyone's character. It's not a character flaw. Nobody taught most of us how to lead. We were taught at an early age. If we had great parents, maybe went to church, we were taught things like how to serve, how to be available, how to be responsive. And all of these are super, super good qualities to have. They're great character traits. But if there's no leadership, service alone honestly creates chaos. So I want to address some of the things today. I'm going to give you some tactics on things you can use to lead in your client conversation right up front and in the beginning. All right. Before we get into some of this, I want to give a little role play. And neither Corey nor I have Academy Awards, nor will we probably ever be nominated for Academy Awards. So please don't judge our acting skills right now. Okay. But Corey and I are going to role play real quick. Ring, ring.
911 Roanoke County. What is your emergency?
I have a fire. My house is on fire.
Well, thank you, Mr. Sweat, for calling in. We'll be right over to address your fire, sir.
Thank you. All right. Now, I would have probably been a little bit more panicky if that were the real situation, but let's try another phone call real quick. Ring, ring.
Hi, yes, this is Shannon Barber with ABC Realty.
Shannon, I saw you on Zillow and your home that I think you have listed. I'd like to go see that home in about 30 minutes. Is that doable?
Well, I do have a few appointments scheduled right now, but I will move those to the side and I'll be right there to help you out.
Thank you so much. All right. Now, all right. Here's what I want to kind of show you. A couple of things, a couple of lessons I think we can take away from this little role play that we just did. Number one, the first call, was that an actual emergency? Someone's house is on fire. Yes, I need help right now. That's an actual emergency. Let me enlighten everyone to something real quick. Doing mortgage loans or selling real estate are not emergencies. Nobody's life is on the line right now. Nobody is going to lose something. I don't control any special red buttons in my office that I can bomb the world with if I choose to. What I do, is it important? What you do, is it important? Yes, it's very important. And we change people's life. However, it's not emergency kind of stuff. Real life example. About 3 weeks ago, my wife, son, and I were driving back from Florida, pulling our camper back to Virginia. And somewhere about halfway along the road, or halfway along the trip, I get a text from someone that we had pre-approved. And this is on a Saturday, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the text, which I had my truck play, said, Jonathan, I need to talk to you ASAP. Like, okay. Well, so there was a rest stop about 20 miles ahead. I pulled over to the rest stop, called the guy, and we chatted. He wants to make an offer on this home. Just came on the market. Just came on the market like that day. And we had pre-approved him again. We did our homework on that piece. But here's what he wants to do. The home, like I said, just came on the market. He wants to offer 150,000 less than list price. And on top of all of that, he would have to offer contingent on his current home selling. Is that an emergency? Did he need to talk to me as soon as possible? Now, the realtor, I won't call any names, so nobody on here, but the realtor he works with, not someone I normally that works with me, but the realtor did not have the gumption to tell him and be the expert that, hey, this is not this is not going to fly. Who's controlling the narrative for that? The realtor or the client? Client is, definitely. Like that should have never even come up, really. So here's the core problem. And you kind of saw it in the role play, which is a little bit of an exaggeration, but only a little bit. Most salespeople, you guys, my industry too, most salespeople operate in reaction mode. Okay. The client calls, you jump. The client wants to see a house tonight, you rearrange your schedule. The client goes quiet. I'm telling you what I do. I panic. Then I start over communicating, right? This is not a client relationship. This is more like a hostage relationship. Okay. Just to be truthful, that's kind of what it is. So here's what I want you to understand clients do not actually want to lead. If you get nothing else from my talk today, I want you to understand this clients don't want to lead, they want to be led. This transaction, buying a home, getting a mortgage loan, it can be stressful, yes, on their part. It's an emotional thing on their part. They're making one of the biggest purchases they'll ever make in their life. Deep down, what they want more than anything else is an agent who makes them feel like everything is completely under control and that they're being led, not having to lead the relationship. The agent who leads, I promise, is also the agent who gets referrals from these people when they close. So, how do we shift from being reactive to proactive? And I think it starts with one thing, and that's establishing leadership in the very, very first conversation that we ever have. So, how do you establish leadership from day one? I think there's three things that we can do in the very first conversation to establish yourself as a leader. So I'm going to go over these three things, and if you're able to write them down, I would highly suggest writing them down because what I'm giving you is stuff that took me about 30 years to learn. Okay, so learn from my mistakes. Number one, set the process, set your process before they set their expectations. So before they start telling you what they want, you tell them how you work. This sounds like something like this. Before we dive in, I want to walk you through how I work with my clients so you know exactly what to expect from me and what I'm going to need from you. Sound good? Like that one sentence positions you as a professional and a leader before a single expectation has even been set. You're not asking their permission, you're just establishing this is the process. I want you to know how I work. Now, look, there's 1,500 or almost 1,500 realtors in Roanoke, right? If you're just going to be like everybody else, you don't need to set this up front. But if you feel like you're different and people need to work with you and you're better than the other 1,499, Let people know how you work up front. Like in our industry, most people just do a pre-qualification and it's super quick. Or there's some lenders that will just quote a rate right out of the gate without ever asking a lot of questions. I want my clients to know this is how we work. We don't do pre-qualifications. We only do pre-approvals. We're going to take you through, like we go through what the process is going to look like. So number one, set the process before they set expectations. Number two, use the word quote unquote we intentionally. Okay. Being a leader is doesn't mean that you're the dictator. So best leaders bring people with them. So instead of saying something like here is what you need to do, say here is what we are going to do together. It creates partnership with the client while keeping you in the driver's seat. Number three, and I think this is super, super, super important, always give what the next step is. That way they know what's coming up next. But every single conversation you have needs to end with a next step that you define, not let me know what you think. Not just reach out when you're ready, but something specific, sort of like this. Great. So here's what happens next. I'm going to send you 3 listings by end of day today. I want you to look over them and we'll talk on Thursday at 2 p.m. Does that work? So when you define the next step, you're able to stay in control of the timeline and the relationship. But I will tell you, if you don't give a next step, what happens? If I tell someone, hey, thank you for doing our application, sending all the documents that we need, we'll circle back to you. In their brain, circling back to them, is that 15 minutes from now? Is that 30 minutes from now? Is it 2 weeks from now? I don't know what it is, but if I'm the client, I'm going to sit on pins and needles until you call me back. But if I say, next step is we're going to schedule a time to meet with you tomorrow, either at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, which would be best. And then from there, we're going to lay out all your options. Clear expectations will help you win the deal. All right. And set that up in the beginning. Now, how do you follow up with people without being pushy? This is a part that I think most salespeople struggle with. You send a text, no response. You wait 2 days, you send another one. You feel like you may be becoming annoying just a little bit. Then you start apologizing in your messages, like, sorry to bother you again. Stop apologizing for following up signals that you think you're being a burden. And if you think you're a burden, your client will too. So here's the mindset shift I think we need to have. You're not following up, you're just simply fulfilling your professional responsibility. Like following up is taking a professional action, a professional step as a realtor. It sets you up to be an advisor, not a telemarketer. So you have information they need. Several weeks ago, there was I don't remember who it was, but there was a newer agent that was here, and we were talking about being new and you know not feeling like you're an expert. I just want to go back to that for a minute because if you are a newer agent on here, or maybe you've not done this for a really long time, here's what I will tell you. If you have taken your realtor's exam and passed it, you've done something that about 249,000 other people in the Roanoke Valley have not done. You're an expert. You're an expert in writing a contract. You're an expert in understanding the contract law. Now, so you need to consider yourself to be an expert. So look at yourself like that and treat yourself like that and position yourself like that and see yourself like that because that's what you are. Now, people want to work with experts, not commission breath salespeople. And we all are commission. We're all 100% commission, but we need to become more of an advisor and an expert in our field. And Setting yourself up where you're having initial conversations, that sets you up as a professional. Following up sets you up as a professional. It doesn't discount and make you like a discount salesperson. It sets you up as being a professional in your field. So here's, I want to give you a couple of different messages and let's do a comparison about following up. Here's version A. Hey, just checking in to see if you had any thoughts. Okay, that's one. Or version B. Hey, Mitch, I wanted to follow up because I just saw two new listings hit the market this morning in the area you're looking at, and I did not want you to miss them. Are you available for a quick call this afternoon? Does one have context and one does not? Is the first one a little bit more about me because I'm starting to feel a little panicky and have anxiety that I might be losing you as a client? Or does the second one, is the focus on me or is the focus on Mitch, my client, that I'm looking out for him? Here's the area you're looking at. Here's two things that just came up. I think we need to talk about it. Like, does one sound more like an advisor and one sound like a boyfriend about to lose a girlfriend? Right? That's really the way we need to look at it. So every follow-up you have and every follow-up you send, whether it's text, email, or a phone call, you need to lead with value. Value can be, here's a new listing. Maybe there's not a new listing. Maybe you just need to give a market update. Like I'm shocked people don't really know what's happening in the market right now as much as what's been in the news and what's happening in the Middle East and how much it's affected interest rates. And like, this is a great time to follow up with your leads and give them a market update about what's happening and what's going on. But giving value is giving relevant information. Give them a reason to respond that is about their interest, not your anxiety, right? So here's a quick little script I'll give to you that you could use. Hey, fill in the blank. Mitch, I wanted to reach out because, and in parentheses, you give them value. New listing, rate update, market news. I wanted to reach out because the market's been shifting over the last few weeks. Things are a little bit different now than they were, say, 45 days ago. I think this is relevant to what you're looking for. Are you available for a quick conversation this week? You're giving something of value. This is super critical to follow up. All right. So most people, uh, most people don't follow up. Most don't track their leads. A lot of people that do track their leads and keep their name and telephone number and email address handy stop following up after about two or three times. Can I give you a new rule that will make you money? Follow up with clients at least 7 times before giving up. At least 7 times before giving up. Now, our rule is we follow up until we make money or the authorities get involved. We're going to keep calling and following up. I don't know why people stop short of calling if they just assume that, all right, they probably went with a different realtor or they chose to go with another lender and we just downplay it and erase them. Look, people have stuff come up in life. I can't tell you the number of people that I thought were ghosting me and just went somewhere else, but maybe they had a relative pass and they're having to deal with that, or something's up with one of their kids. Like we we tend to assume people leave us. A lot of times people don't leave us, we abandon them. So don't abandon people. Keep following up. I'm going to give you a system in a few minutes to do that. But I think it's critical you make sure that you follow up with people. Don't be allergic to making money. And making money is following up with people a lot. Okay. So, what do you do when the client goes silent? And this is a little segue into exactly what I was just talking about. But I'm sure all of us here have had a client that has just gone silent. They ghost us. It felt like everything was great. They were excited, and then nothing. Just radio silence. No response to texts, no response to your emails. They won't answer the phone. So most salespeople, when that happens, again, they interpret that silence as being rejected and they just back off. So if you have a client that goes silent, here's a little script I want to give you for that. And all of this is being recorded. So if you want to come back and listen to this and get this later, we can certainly send you the recording. But here's a script for that. Hey, Shannon, I know life gets busy and I completely understand. I just want to make sure I'm still serving you well. Is there anything that has changed in what you're looking for, or anything I can clarify about where we are in the process? I am here whenever you're ready, and I just wanted you to know I'm not forgotten about you. So a message like that does four things, I think. Number one, it removes pressure. Second, it opens a door. Third, it demonstrates professionalism. And last, it puts you in a position of someone who leads with care, not desperation. Okay. I think a person that sends a message like that proves that you're a leader in the relationship. So here's the one habit. If there's a one habit I can give you that changes everything, and will make you money, this is it. Weekly proactive communication eliminates the need for most follow up. So, what does that look like? For me, let me just tell you, before I started being coached and before I had a mentor, I had no structure to my week. Most of my days and most of my weeks and months doing mortgage loans were very much just the same as when we started this training about 23 minutes ago. It was the role play that Corey answered and said he was 911 Roanoke County. What's your emergency? That was kind of me as a loan officer. Jonathan Sweat, Salem Financial, what can I do for you? I was going to the office every day, waiting for someone to call me and acting like a firefighter type loan officer. Okay. When I started being coached, we set up every day of the week, had a theme, one theme, super simple, a lot of structure. But Wednesdays for the last 15 years for me consist of a power hour of calling at least 15 leads, 15 of our leads, and checking in with them and keeping that conversation going. If you could do one habit and create one habit that would change your income and keep people sticky to you, it would be one day a week at least. Call every lead that you have. So, and you can go back. Maybe you call all the leads you had last month, one Wednesday. Maybe the following Wednesday, you call the leads you've had over the last 6 months and just check in. Then maybe over the last year. Like we keep our leads back from a long time. And like I said, it's nothing to me to call somebody that maybe the last time we heard from them was 16 months ago. We've done it before, and then all of a sudden we call, and it's like playing the lottery. All of a sudden they're interested now. It's been 16 months, but now we're adding them back into our conversation mix again. So one habit that changes everything: pick a day a week and commit at least an hour to 2 hours of calling and checking in with leads. It's just called the weekly touch. Okay, so and I believe in something like this, it can be, I think phone calls are better than anything else. But if you're not a conversationalist, send a text, do an email, just do something. Follow up with your leads, okay? But it can be really quick. But when you do this, three things will happen. First, your clients will stop feeling anxious because they know you are on it. Second, you stop feeling like you're chasing because you are ahead of it all the time. And third, your referrals go up because clients who feel led also feel cared for and they will tell other people about you. All right. The weekly touch is not hard. It just requires intention on your part, and intention is what separates leaders from people that react. All right. So here's what I want you to walk away with today. Leadership is not about being bossy. Now, my team, please stay silent as I speak these words. But leadership is not about being bossy. It's not about being aggressive or being pushy. It is simply, it's simply this. It's about caring enough about your clients to give them the direction and confidence they desperately are looking for. If any of you on here have kids, you know, I love my kids more than I love any of my clients. I'm sorry to tell you, but I love my kids a lot. Do I want to give them direction? Yes. Why? Because I love them and I care for them. It's the same way of leading my clients. I love them and I care for them. I really want them to make wise decisions with their money and become financially wealthy. That's what I want for my clients. So, being leadership is not about being bossy or pushy when I'm having the conversation with them. It's about setting them up to be led. When you lead well, I think everybody wins. Your clients are going to get a better experience because you established up front how you're going to work. Your transactions will close smoother, your referrals go up, and you go home at the end of the day without feeling like you spent the whole day being pulled in every direction by people who are supposed to be following you. You're the professional, you're the expert, you've earned the right to lead. All right. So go do it. That's what I want to challenge you with this week is go do it. I think the most critical piece of all of this is establishing up front how you work. And maybe you don't know how you work, but I would really encourage you to put that into a system so that you know this is how I'm choosing to work. If you've never read the book Raving Fan, that is a great book that will give you some ideas of how you can differentiate yourself between you and the other 1,500 realtors. Another really good book is E-Myth. Um, E-Myth talks about how McDonald's and franchises like McDonald's have a system for everything. And if you've ever noticed that, I mean, I know there's McDonald's that can still mess up a burger. However, they have a system for everything. And whether you're getting a burger at the McDonald's in Rocky Mount or you're getting a burger at the one on Peters Creek, they probably all have the exact same system they follow, and they're going to taste pretty close to each other, right? I'm not saying it's the best burger in the world, but you know what you're getting,
Mhm.
right? Because they have a system. Realtors, loan officers, most of us don't have systems. Create a system, introduce it to your client up front. This is my process. And then they know they've got someone they can confidently trust in the transaction. All right. Hope you got something from today. Please come back next week. Next Wednesday, we're covering a topic called qualifying like a pro, knowing who deserves your time. Not everybody does. And we'll talk about that more next week. All right. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday. Thank you for being here today.